Hey YouTube, I've come to offer you my help if I can. I am interested in doing as much as I can to help other people, and only partly for your good and partly for mine. I've been depressed for years. I suffer from loneliness a lot. I'm sort of obsessed partly as a result of being born with a facial deformity in one eyelid. I'm sort of obsessed with my appearance. As a result of my appearance and as a result of some of the setbacks that I've suffered in my life, I have very low self-esteem. And so I would really like to be more grateful, because it's a really ugly thing to be bitter and ungrateful, and very unpleasant for the person themselves, even if they're not sort of trying to change for ethical or moral reasons, which I am. It's very unpleasant to be a sort of bitter and unhappy person all the time. I would really like to help you to give myself a sense of purpose, and a sense of self-worth, and to realise the strength that I have in that I'm able to help other people. I'd like to pay it forward. So some ways that I might be able to help you. Well, I'm very good at listening and understanding. I like to think that I'm good at having a good listening, understanding conversation. So if you'd just like to talk to someone about your problems, please do feel free. If you think that I can help you with a project that you're working on and you just really appreciate a free pair of hands, I'm very bright and I pick new things up easily. So even if I'm not already able to do what you're doing, I might be able to learn it quite quickly and help you out. I'm already very good at things like proofreading and editing. My degree is in English, so if you're writing an essay right now, you'd like someone to proofread it, or you're looking for work and you'd like someone to look at your CV and make some suggestions, or if you're writing creatively and you'd like some feedback, I would love to do that for you. Perhaps English is your second language and you'd like to practice conversational English. I'm happy to set up Skype. On this tablet. I haven't tried to do that yet, but I'm sure I can set up Skype and have some chats with you if you'd like to practice your English, or check something that you're sending off, check the English of something you're sending off before you send it. Or maybe you're lonely too and you'd like a pen pal. I'd be happy to have a pen pal. I'd like to help because I think back to people that have helped me in the past and how such a small thing has meant so much at the time, and I think about in my last video I was saying, my boyfriend doesn't seem to need that, and that's the most powerful thing. And it was quite a sick thing that I was saying sort of I'm not into my relationship with him because there's no sort of trauma and there's no sadness, but it can be sort of looked at in a much more positive light, as well, to the tiniest things that you do for another person means something, and so you don't need to be in a bad place to help other people. I think of the woman in the mental unit. I think I've told all three of these stories at times on YouTube actually, but one time I was 15 years old, I'd been in a mental unit for about 6 months. I was extremely depressed, and after sort of an hour-long chat she gave me a hug, and that really meant something, because staff weren't allowed to touch patients, and it really was important that I'd had a hug and some human contact. Just recently I'd had my heart broken, and I was sitting in a bar and I was feeling really, really down, and I'd been having a really bad time lately, and a couple came over and said, hey, we just noticed that you feel down and would you like to sit with us? And I said no, because I couldn't really sit with them at the time, but it was really meant something that someone had offered. And one time I was coming home on my own on a night bus, and a guy got on carrying like a huge crate of beers under his arm and started saying sort of really explicitly sexual things to me. And then when I was sort of rejecting him, he started telling me he started implying that basically it was because somehow I was racist towards white people, and that I only wanted a black cock, but one day a black man was going to rape me, and all this random sort of stuff. So the guy was just off his face and like really unpleasant. And another guy, a huge Greek guy like twice the size of this weedy little white guy, came down the bus and told him to back off, and stood next to me for the rest of the bus journey, and that really meant something, even though to him it's only a small thing. Like, to me, I was like terrified, and I was genuinely worrying about how I was going to get off the bus and get home without being beaten up, or worse. So I was really grateful to him. And so, like, and I'm not only, I don't just want to offer my help on YouTube as well, I really think, like, I want to look at the world around me and see if there's anything I can do to improve it. I'm so tired of feeling down about the state of the world and how crap everything is, and it's really time to get hands-on about changing it in whatever small way that I'm able to during my lifetime. And so some people that I've identified that I might be able to help are my next door neighbour, whose wife died about 6 years ago, and I went to her funeral. But although since then I haven't really spoken to him that much, and because he's come home a few times and found me smoking weed on the front doorstep, he thinks that I'm not trustworthy. He doesn't seem to like me very much, so I can't really help him directly. I can't really sort of knock on the door and be like, hey, I've come around to help you out, sort of thing. But I thought I might be able to do something anonymous and nice for him. And what occurred to me was this Valentine's Day scene, and I could leave him some daffodils. But then I thought maybe that's not the best thing to do, because he's widowed. Even though it's been about 6 or 7 years, he still lives alone. I think it's probably not the best idea. Although the intention is to sort of make Valentine's Day less lonely, perhaps it's not very respectful. So if you can think of anything that I can do for my elderly next door neighbour that lives alone without him knowing that I've done it, that'd be great. There's a homeless guy that I've mentioned in one of my videos recently at the station where I get my train home from work every day. I don't really know what to do about it. He's only ever really sort of asking for money, and that's unfortunately the sort of one thing I don't really have that much of to give at the moment, especially for the rest of this month. I've budgeted out the rest of my month and put paper clips around everything to make sure I'm going to be able to get to work and back and buy food. So I don't really have like huge amounts of money to give. I can give him a small amount of money, but is there not something better I can do for him? And does anyone have any ideas? And obviously I work in a hospital, so I'm surrounded by sick and dying people. So there must be plenty of things that I can do at the hospital where I work to improve other people's lives. You know, but it's not just because I say that I'm doing it partly for selfish reasons, that I partly want a sense of self-worth from it. I don't want to do things like openly. It's not because I want to be celebrated by people around me as someone that always does kind things for other people. I'd really rather that most of the stuff's sort of anonymous, because I'm really socially anxious. So the idea of sort of knocking on an elderly neighbour's door and being like, hello, can I offer you some help? Would you like to do some gardening? Makes me feel quite nervous. But I could do nice things, and people don't need to know about them. Like, I can raise money for causes, and then I've got like bigger projects that I'd really like to help. I'm really into WaterAid. I'd really like to help WaterAid. I think increasingly WaterAid have found that it's not enough to sort of provide clean water to a place. If there aren't sort of sanitation facilities, toilets, and hand washing facilities, then the pump inevitably becomes contaminated anyway, and it becomes once again a breeding ground for the sort of contagious diseases that we're trying to eradicate in Africa, or that WaterAid are trying to eradicate in Africa. So I think I'd really like to sort of build some toilets and hand washing facilities in Africa. And obviously I had problems with mental health problems, so I'd really like to do some work for mind. I feel like I'd really be paying it forward for that nurse that gave me that hug in the mental unit if I could sort of really be sort of hands-on and actively involved in making mind a lot of money, and also in giving my time to people in my local community with mental health problems. And Médecins Sans Frontières, sorry if my French accent, my lack of attempt at a French accent just hurt anyone in the audience, are an amazing organisation, and medical aid is such a basic thing that actually doesn't cost us very much money to provide. You know, the cost of the Olympics, we could have helped so many children in Africa. And third world countries. I hate the term third world, I'm sorry. And I don't really want to use developing either, or underdeveloped. Underprivileged, that sounds right. There's so many people in underprivileged countries that I'd like to be able to help in whatever small way I can. You know, I live in the UK. The UK is one of the most charitable nations on earth. So I'm in the perfect position to do really good fundraising for people in other parts of the world that can't get their message heard for whatever reason. And I think that I've always sort of thought that I don't deserve a happy life and that I'm going to die alone. And I think that that's partly because people around me don't seem to like me very much and don't seem to find me very interesting. And men don't seem to find me attractive and this sort of thing. So I thought that I'm going to sort of live and die alone. But I realised that through love acting in love for other people, you'll never die alone, because, you know, I'd love to end up sort of surrounded by, you know, or getting letters from all the children that I don't really want to have my own children, but I'd love to foster children. And I'd love to be getting letters in my old age from adults that were children when I sort of saw them on their way, in whatever small way I could, or for whatever short period I was able to help them. And, you know, I'd love to find myself sort of surrounded by fostered children and sheltered animals when I'm older. You know, I'm a big fan of cats. I'm a big fan of all animals, actually, and I'd love to work with abused and battered animals, as well as sort of taking in children and whatever other sort of people I can find to care for along the way. Because someone that needs you, they don't care how pretty you are, they don't care how fun you are. It doesn't matter to them whether or not you're nice to look at, or whether or not you know, got a first class degree or just a 2-1. It doesn't matter to them what you're wearing, or what you've done with your life. All that matters is that you're willing to help. So you can never fail to be, to have people around. And it's not about the sort of thank you from the person, it's just knowing that you're less alone, because your life improves someone else's. So can I give you a hand? That's, yeah. Would you like help with anything? Give me an email or a comment down below, and I will see what I can do for you. I work full time, but I will still do my best for you, because I have nothing else. I have no direction. I have no purpose, and all I care about is helping you and being around the world, experiencing things, and having been something by the time I died. And that would be an honourable thing to have been someone that helped. So let me know, and I hope you're all well. And if you can think of anything that I could do for my neighbour or the homeless guy at the station, or something that I might be able to do for people at the hospital. We have children's wards, we have, you know, areas where people are almost certainly going to die. I take the lift up to the 2nd floor, and on the same level as the oncology ward, so I see people coming and going all the time that have no hair, that look really sickly. I'm in a brilliant position to help, so I'm just almost like, I'm not autistic, but I'm almost like, how I just have trouble connecting, like, my actions to people, like understanding that part of things. So if anyone can suggest anything I can do for these people that's not coming to me, I would love to do it. Let me be your agent of good in the world. You can just sort of sit back and have a secondary good feeling from all the hard work I do for you. And I hope you're well, YouTube. Peace out.